This is Adam Gorney with a special Respect My Decision podcast this week, coming on the news of five-star Justin Scott committing to Ohio State, which was somewhat of a surprise for some people. I'm joined by Chicago Saint Ignatius coach Matt Miller. Matt, kind of walk me through the last couple weeks. He had taken all those visits through June, just like everybody had. He had seen all of basically his favorites. He had known Notre Dame really well, and then lands on Ohio State. Really, just kind of how did it happen?
Sure. Yeah, he had quite a busy June between playing. Our camp here in Illinois starts the beginning of June, and then he played basketball and then did official visits every weekend. So kind of forget the order a little bit, but I know that the last four that he had taken was Ohio State, Miami, Michigan, and
Georgia.
And Georgia. And
Yeah.
so that was the whole plan, was to just get a chance to see some of these places in person, like he'd never been to Georgia before. And so just get to see him in person and get, kind of the red carpet treatment and see what would be best for him. So it's one of those things where I can only imagine being in this position where you kind of come back from each visit thinking like, all right, this might be the place for me. Because you get a whole weekend of just getting what the program's all about. And these are all great places. And so it was kind of up and down where I really like this place. And then you come back from the next one. Oh, I really like this place. And it can be tough on a kid, I would imagine. So, but when he came back from Ohio State most recently, he had shared with me that just the full plan, start to finish, what they laid out for him, he felt the best with, and he really enjoyed working with Coach Johnson, talking to him, and family enjoyed Coach Day, and ultimately led to making his decision.
There had been some reports that it was sort of Ohio State, Michigan, actually, at the end. Would you say that was fair? Because obviously, as you know, too, there were rumors about Miami now being the favorite. Georgia would be tough to beat. Was it really Ohio State, Michigan at the end there?
So that's what he'd shared with me also. And, a couple months ago, I'm not quite sure where maybe the order of those things stood. I know that at one point when we, 40-something options come through, and it was kind of a whirlwind when he put out the list of his top 7, but really top 5. He was serious about those 5, really just wanted to shrink them down. And, the places that I'm sure everyone knows led early on with Notre Dame and Miami were definitely true then. He really enjoyed Georgia. But what he felt when got to Michigan, Ohio State being Midwest, he just felt at home. And he shared with me that really was the final 2 that he was considering.
When you meet with Larry Johnson, when he kind of says that you're going to be his guy, is it almost impossible to say no to,
As a coach, of course, I know of Larry Johnson and the players that he's coached and the resume that he's got. And, I tried to stay pretty down the middle on the whole process myself, and, but sure that, hey, I know of Coach Johnson prior to this whole thing starting up as being one of the best. And so he got a chance to sit down and learn that from him. And one of the things that he really enjoyed doing was they actually sat down and watched some tape, and he gave him some feedback right on the spot. And I think that really hit home for him.
It seems like kids, there's this perception, and you could speak to this as a coach, there's this perception that kids want to be loved up all the time, but there is this like new trend, it seems, as me doing this every day, is like kids do want to be told, they want to be like coaches to know them really well. So it's like the good and the bad. They want to be, a lot of kids want to be told how to improve, not just you're the best and you're going to start from day one. Do you kind of see that as fair, especially in Justin's case?
Yeah, they want information. Definitely, especially being in a place here like St. Ignatius, who's just got some really gifted kids academically, and it translates to athletics too. And they want to be the best, and they want to learn how to be the best. And so, yeah, absolutely. He's always been a very coachable kid. Just being a guy that, his freshman year was the first time he ever put on shoulder pads, which was just a couple of years ago. So, he's definitely a guy that's taken a lot of coaching and has got exponentially better. I think everybody pretty early on saw his athletic ability, but still had a long way to go on the field. And, he has gotten better each and every year because of his ability to take feedback and listen to what you're saying and then apply it.
This isn't a criticism of Notre Dame or ripping them at all, but it seemed like Notre Dame was the team to beat very early on. Was it just that he was familiar with them being down the road and then he saw more things, or was there something that just kind of was not clicking there?
Yeah, I think that there's certainly a connection here with Saint Ignatius and Notre Dame, just between the alumni networks, and even people that work in the building here at Saint Ignatius. So I think everybody's very familiar with the school, and that probably what got him out to a early lead. I think it was probably one of, again, no knocking on other programs, but it was probably, I think it was the first one that came in, if I recall. That was kind of a next step in as far as the level of team, in Power 5, if you will. Type caliber. And so I think that certainly jumped into the line just because of the notoriety of the school around here and the level of their program. I think definitely put him first in line. And then, a few others came in after that.
Yeah. Describe for Ohio State fans who haven't seen him in person what they're getting in terms of a kid and as a football player.
Sure. Really, really good kid. As you said already, coachable. Just came in, knowing nothing about football. His first time putting pads on was spring 2020. And, as I said before, it was just he's improved a ton over the course of a couple of years now. Really kind of sandwiched a bunch of seasons together from having the COVID year and then playing basketball. Yeah. And so he's finally getting a chance to really get in the weight room and get strong. Just genetically and athletically, I got 10 years in now coaching, so I got a little bit of experience and being in a pretty good league here in Illinois. I've just never seen anything like him. He is all of 6'5". At basketball, he gets down to about 285. He played at 305 for us last year. And he dunks the basketball with ease. He's always begging me to do one-on-one drills whenever we do receiver DB stuff, he wants to show off. And he can jump and run. I've just never seen this type of twitch and explosion, speed-wise from a guy at that size. It's honestly remarkable. And so as he develops in the weight room and gets bigger and stronger, and he adds up just that natural twitch with some real power. It's really impressive. His first year really on the varsity with us, he was playing tight end. So we can get him on and off the field. He's more of a D lineman and I'm an offensive coach. And just the athleticism at that size is something I've never seen before. And so as he continues to get better, the sky's the limit for him.
There are some guys that preach play one sport and focus on it, but it seems like that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. Play multiple sports, be athletic, learn different, traits along the athletic spectrum there. His basketball background, that has to just add to his athletic ability on the football field, where he's not just a space eater, but he can shoot gaps and get in the backfield.
Oh, yeah. You really came in as a basketball player. You wanted to give football a try and see how it went. I think he used to do track back in grade school as well, running sprints. And so definitely translates. If you've ever seen him play basketball, he's not the – I'm just going to set a pick and run up and down the court and be the guy at space eater, as you said, in the middle. He can handle the ball. He pick and roll. He can shoot it. He moves exceptionally well. So, it definitely translates. It got really busy for him this summer. We really got through the thick of it because, June was where he had basketball and football and visits. And so I think he's made it through the toughest part, I think, of the schedule. But, he's committed to both here at Ignatius. And, I think that it's definitely improved his athleticism, his footwork, all that stuff.
What would you say to people that say he's even a better offensive tackle prospect long term? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with it? How do you kind of feel about it?
Well, I'm probably a little biased because I'm the offensive guy here, and in our system he plays guard. It's a little bit different as a triple option team about where we need our size. I don't want to knock our offensive lineman brethren, as an offensive guy, but I don't want to say you're wasting athleticism, but the ability that he has to move, as a defender reacting to people, I think that really would play more to his strengths. He's done a phenomenal job offensive line wise. We run behind him quite a bit, and he's our mover inside. And does a really, really good job. And I think that if, it's something he really wanted to put his mind to, he can definitely do. He's definitely made a lot of strides there, takes coaching well, and has gotten a lot better. we'll do certain schemes where he's the guy leading the way in the perimeter, and then he's also the guy drive blocking people. So I think he could do it, but I think he's just such an elite athlete that those three techniques and interior D lineman, it's just hard to find. I mean, you've seen those guys, getting picked up top 10 every year. He's got that type of athleticism.
Awesome. That, again, is Chicago St. Ignatius coach Matt Miller, Adam Gorney for the Respect My Decision podcast.